So what happens when a political friendship, one that's lasted for 30 years, suddenly just goes up in flames, right out in the open? Today, we're diving into a story that, on the surface, looks like a public falling out. But our sources, well, they reveal a pretty stunning narrative going on behind the scenes. We're talking high-stakes deals, immense pressure, and yeah, a billion-dollar betrayal. And this was the bombshell. This came from Cambodia's powerful leader, Hun Sen, aimed squarely at Thailand's ruling Shinawatra family. A 30-year bond, just gone. This wasn't just a cooling of relations. No, this was the public execution of a political alliance. So you have to ask, how did it get to this point, right? On the surface, the whole thing started with some leaked phone calls and photos. But the real story, at least according to our sources, it goes so much deeper. It allegedly uncovers this whole web of secret deals, international pressure, and a $5 billion figure sitting right at the heart of the entire conflict. So to really get the sheer depth of this betrayal, we first have to understand the bond that was actually shattered. For decades, the Hun and Shinawatra families weren't just political allies. They were really close family friends. We're talking about a relationship that had weathered all kinds of political storms in both of their countries. And to really drive this point home, Hun Sen himself released photos showing Thailand's current prime minister visiting these very rooms. Now, this was a calculated move, right? It was meant to show just how intimate their bond once was, which of course makes the betrayal that followed feel all the more dramatic. So this leak was the public flashpoint, the big explosion. But our sources are saying this insult wasn't the cause of the breakup. It was the result. So what could possibly push a leader to detonate a 30-year friendship so spectacularly? Well, the answer, according to a key source, a former Thai Special Forces paratrooper, isn't personal at all. It's financial. And it is absolutely massive. This is the number that is allegedly at the very heart of this whole dispute. $5 billion. It's an almost unimaginable sum of money that is said to have kicked off this entire chain of events. The source claims this huge payment was basically an advance, and it was based on one single, really audacious promise that Cambodia, with a little help from collaborators inside Thailand, could secure control over this resource-rich area. And here is the alleged conspiracy, broken down step by step. The claim is that this was never really about a genuine border dispute. The plan was to manufacture a crisis, resolve it in Cambodia's favor, and then, of course, cash in. But the plan hit a brick wall. The Thai public and, maybe more importantly, the powerful Thai military, they just refused to play along. They stood firm. That territory was never ceded. And this sudden failure didn't just kill the deal, it created a massive new problem. The deal had totally collapsed. And with its failure, the source claims Hun Sen was suddenly backed into an impossible corner. Yeah, the oil company was not happy. They wanted their $5 billion back. The problem? The source alleges the money had already been divided up and spent. There was nothing left to return. And this is where the pressure starts to build from all sides, really threatening to crush him. So now he was caught between two fires. The source describes it as a kind of political vice, squeezing him from the outside world and from right inside his own country. So look at this. On one side, you've got this multinational oil company demanding its $5 billion back. And then, on the other side, his political opposition at home is accusing him of secret, treacherous negotiations. He was getting attacked for both failing his foreign partners and for being too cozy with Thailand. Talk about a no-win situation. And this leads to the source's most crucial claim. That leak was not some random act of anger. It was a calculated political move. He allegedly sacrificed his 30-year friendship to solve his more immediate problem at home, to prove to his critics that he was playing hardball with Thailand, not cutting some kind of backroom deal. Now, the fallout from this calculated leak, it wasn't contained to just Cambodia. Oh no, it sent immediate shockwaves right across the border.
and it created a major political crisis for the new Thai government. The commentary that was cited in the source material was just merciless. Analysts framed the new Thai prime minister as having been completely outmaneuvered. That she'd walked right into a trap set by a more experienced and, as this quote suggests, maybe a more ruthless operator. And this leak didn't just cause embarrassment, it destabilized the entire Thai government. Reports cited by our source suggested the prime minister was actually considering resignation, as the whole crisis threatened to just unravel her coalition and maybe even trigger new elections. The whole thing was teetering. But hold on, the story doesn't end there. The sources we looked at paint this picture of cascading betrayals, like a web of double dealing that extends even further.
It gets even more complicated. The source alleges that while this deal with the Western firm was failing, Hun Sen's family was at the same time trying to pitch the exact same deal to Chinese investors. This alleged double dealing, you can imagine, infuriated everyone involved and led to immense international pressure, including threats to expose money that was allegedly laundered through banks in the Cayman Islands. So, to kind of put it all together, the story laid out by our sources isn't about a simple political tiff. No, it's the alleged explosive conclusion to a massive, high-stakes geopolitical gamble that went disastrously wrong. And it left this trail of broken promises and political wreckage in its wake. Ultimately, what we're left with is this incredible narrative of shattered alliances and billion-dollar consequences. And it really forces you to ask, in a world with this much money and political survival on the line, what is the true price of trust? And how easily can a 30-year friendship be tossed aside for a single political gambit?